everyone, I'm Apero, I'm a member of Team Aretusa, and today I'm on a boat. Just kidding. I'm going to talk about Transmuting 101. What is it? What effects does it have on the game? How do I do it? How do I pay for it? Let's answer all of these questions and more. Before I begin, please do hit that subscribe button. All right, ready? Let's go. So the most obvious question about transmuting is, what is it? Well, simply put, transmuting is taking a static, standard version of a card, as you can see here, and transforming it into the animated version of the card. And we call this animated version a premium version of a card. So we have standard, which is static, and premium, which is animated. Now, the natural next question should then be, why would we do this? Does it have any effect on the game? No is the short answer. It has no effect on the ability of the card, the power of the card, or anything like that. This is a purely aesthetic change to the card. And when you see that kind of artwork as featured here, I mean, you can kind of understand why people get excited about transmuting. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to transmute a card, because it's really very simple. The first thing you do is you go into Deck Builder. So you can go in here, and you have to find then the card that you want to transmute. In this case, we're going to transmute Radia. There she is. So as you can see, here we can see the standard version of the card, static, and here is the premium. Now the deck builder gives us a preview of that premium so that we can see essentially what we're buying. And you can see here that the hammer icon indicates that we don't already have this card. So if I then click into Radia, the card I do have, then here you can see a transmute button at the bottom. This will turn this card into the premium version. This is not to be confused with simply just buying the premium version outright. So here, if I wanted to craft it, I could craft it for 800 scraps and 400 powder, but I already own the card, so I don't need 2 gold cards. We can only ever use 1 in a deck, so therefore there's no point in hitting that and wasting scraps. Instead, I'm just going to turn my standard one into a premium version, and it's very simple. You simply press the transmute button, you will get a confirmation screen, you hit yes. Then we see this wonderful moment. Now she's not there anymore. But she is. And voila, you now have your premium version of a card. Now, as you saw, this transmutation process cost me 400 powder. All transmuting costs powder. That is the main currency, if you will, with which transmuting occurs. Now, the transmuting costs vary depending on the rarity of the card. If you want to know what rarity a card is, you have to look up here in the top left of the card and see what color that jewel is. A legendary is orange, epic is purple, rare is blue, and common is white. Now, you've seen just now that I've been looking at my notes when I say that, and that's because these differences come into play pretty much only when it comes to the cost of cards. A legendary will require 400 powder, epic will require 300 powder, rare requires 200 powder, and a common requires 100 powder to transmute per card. Now, if you already own 2 premium copies of a bronze or 1 premium copy of a gold, the game is very useful and it actually stops you from accidentally spending your powder by ghosting the transmute button. So if you cannot click on the transmute button, it's either because you don't have enough powder or it's because you already have 2 bronze premiums of that card or 1 gold premium of that card. So by now you've probably had a little look at your deck builder and found a card that you want to transmute, but you don't have enough powder. What do you do to transmute a card if you don't have enough powder? Well, there are a few different ways that you can get more powder, and I'm going to offer three possible ways to do it, 2 of which I recommend, 1 of which I don't. The first is simply to work on getting rewards. Use the reward book to unlock powder as often as you can, and that way you will be able to get your premiums as soon as possible. Now, I have done a little video on that, which I'm going to promote over here. Wait, over there. Which explains what to do after you finish the tutorial in GWENT, but it also includes within it a little bit of a basic guide on rewards, so I strongly recommend that. The second option is that you mill premium cards that you don't think you're going to need. I highly discourage you from doing this. Do not do this. There is not a good return on investment here, and you never know when you're actually going to need those cards. A much better alternative to doing that is a wonderful button, which is the Mill Spare Cards button. And you might not be able to see it at first glance here because it's not super obvious, but this is it here. It looks like a little bowl and it's got powder in it. So the idea is you're going to grind up some cards, maybe get some powder out of it. That's how I like to think of it. So if you click on this button, it will show you all of the duplicate cards that you have in your collection. Now this is across standard versions and premium versions. You can then see how much you'll gain in terms of scraps and how much you'll gain in terms of powder. These are cards you do not need. These are duplicates you do not need. You already have either 2 bronzes or 1 gold for these cards, so it doesn't hurt you to undertake this milling process, if you will. It is much better than selecting individual cards you don't think you need, because you never know when a patch or an update might make those cards viable again. So if this is something you want to do, as I said, just click on the Mill Spare Cards button shown here, and you just hit yes. And boom, there you go. It's all been added to my collection, and now I can get extra cards if I didn't have enough powder to begin with to get them. Well, everyone, that is what you need to know about transmuting in GWENT. I hope I've answered all your questions, but of course, if you do have any more, please do feel free to drop them into the comments. It's been wonderful seeing you again. Please do hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch, and I will hopefully see you around. Bye!